Welcome into the Gramlich and Mac Lane podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and Mac Lane. Mac, this is a very, 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 very special episode. It's really hard to believe. I've been telling a few people, yeah, we're doing this, and they're like, what? This is our 500th episode of this show. Somehow, I have tolerated talking to you 500 times. I don't know how this is possible. Honestly, vice versa as well.
No.
So we've got a good look back at our 500 episodes and all that planned for today's episode. We're going to look back at some things. We got some rapid fire. It's going to be a really, really fun walk down memory lane, if you will,
Yeah.
Mac Lane. But congrats,
Come
500.
on. We did it. Here we are. And it's absolutely crazy to think about and just this journey. And, this isn't a daily show, because that we would have got to 500 really quick if that was the case. This has been over some years, and you guys have been on this journey with us. And we're just so grateful for y'all, for our fans and for our viewers and tuning in. And, if you're new, you're stumbling on right now, welcome to the party, because it's been a heck of a ride and a lot of fun. And you mentioned, kind of telling people about it, KG. I was talking with Kaki yesterday and was just like, yeah, we're going to record our 500th episode. And she was like, 500? She was like, wow, it's a pretty big deal. And I can't thank you enough, KG, for doing this. And I think back to all those years ago when we just decided to do this. It's been a heck of a ride, and it's been really, really fun.
It has. And same to you, Mac. I mean, we work so well together that obviously that's true. Otherwise, you don't make it 500 episodes with someone you don't work well with. And our partnership is just, it works. So we're going to keep doing this. Here's to 500 more. We've got a big football season coming up this fall. But Mac, before we dive into kind of a retrospective on our first 500 episodes, we have a very exciting giveaway we are going to do to celebrate our 500th episode. Why don't you set up how this came to be, and then I'll kind of give the people the nitty gritty. But our 500th episode giveaway is going to be huge.
It really is. And we are really excited about this because, we were thinking about a bunch of different things on how, we can make this impactful, how we can make it really cool, and how can we make it football centric, but lean on some of our partners, specifically looking at Ingles and, all these different things. And, we said, let's just do a really big football giveaway. And so basically what we're going to do, guys, is 2 club tickets for any Clemson home football game outside of LSU. Sorry. I couldn't get my hands on those. They're really expensive.
Let's be real.
They're really expensive. I'm sorry. But any other home game for Clemson, you say, well, why Clemson? Well, obviously, why Clemson? That's the ones that we can get the easiest. But we want to encourage people from all over the place because we're going to do a travel voucher as well, $500 travel voucher. So we want you to come in, even if you're not a Clemson fan, if you're playing the Tigers and you've never been to Death Valley before, the real Death Valley, we'll have more to that to come all summer long. Come and visit. It is an unbelievable place with unbelievable people, and we'll make sure you are treated greatly. We'll have everything lined up, and if you're a Clemson fan, you know the deal. Let's go. We're going to get you in the West End Zone, which is really nice club seats, kind of the upper level there, the first West End Zone, which is my favorite seats in the house. So you've got great food, drinks all game. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. On top of that travel voucher, we're going to help you out. And additionally, we want you to have some fun pregame too. So we're going to give you a $500 gift card, tailgate gift card to our friends over at Ingles. That should go a really long way with those guys because there's a ton of savings. There's a ton of great deals that'll be going on around that time as well. So KG, it's really simple. If you could lay it out for everybody how they can enter to win this contest.
So this contest is live on social media. It's specifically on our Instagram. So at Eric MacLane, at Kelly Gramlich, that's where you can find it. I also want to add this in terms of fans coming. Obviously, Clemson fans, we hope a bunch of you guys enter. Here are the other home games. Troy, Syracuse, SMU fans, looking at you, Duke, Florida State fans. We know we've got a lot of you guys who watch this show, and Furman, of course, which if you're a Furman fan, that makes a ton of sense, right? You can just drive down the road most likely. So we did put that travel voucher in there because we want people to enter outside of this area. Now, if you are in this area, then, we're basically just going to give you $500. So congrats. Use it for your gas money. Use it to really go crazy with your tailgating. Because it is the 500th episode, so everything has to be in 500s. It really makes us, it has to be that way. So the way you enter, go to our Instagrams, at Eric MacLane, at Kelly Gramlich. You like the post. You'll find it right there at the top. It's pinned at the top of our page. 500 episode giveaway looks like this, okay? you follow at Eric McLean, at Kelly Gramlich, and then you tag in the comments who
Very
you would
important.
bring
Very
with
important
you.
piece.
Yes, this is very important. Tag that person if they have social media. If they don't and you still want to enter, that's okay. Just literally write their name. Say, I'm bringing my wife or my brother or whatever. And you're entered, boom. And then Mac and I will select randomly. The winner will be selected and will be announced by June 30th so that people can make their plans so that it's not, you're not waiting forever. And the other added part we wanted to do with this, and this really comes from Ingles and their heart for giving back. I mean, Ingles does so much for the community. We all know, at least if you're in this area, the impact that Hurricane Helene had, not just in Greenville where I am, but specifically in Asheville. It was devastating. And the rebuilding efforts are ongoing. So for every entry we get, Mac and I will donate $5 to ongoing relief efforts for Hurricane Helene in the Asheville area. Ingles is based in Asheville. Ingles is going to help us out with that and make sure the money goes to the right place. So we really wanted to make sure there was a charitable aspect to it.
Yeah.
But we're super excited. It's live on Instagram. Go find it. We wish you the best of luck. By the way, it's 1 entry per person. That's also on the post. So you can't just tag literally everyone you've ever known. 1 entry per person. That's all it's going to count for. I mean, you can, I guess, but it's only going to count once. And yeah, good luck.
Come on. And listen, here's the deal. KG and I want to give away thousands of dollars. Okay. So help us out here. Tell everybody you know, make fake accounts if you want to. A lot of bots. I mean, we could have some bots working in here, whatever it takes. This is all about charity. But we also want you guys to have a really cool experience. Like I said, 2 premium tickets in the West End Zone, $500 travel voucher, and $500 gift card to our friends over at Ingles for a tailgate supreme. Whatever you want. We're going to take care of you guys. And who knows, maybe there'll be some other treats along the way. We'll see what happens depending on the game. And if we're there, we're really going to take care of you. So get ready for that. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's just kind of a small token of our appreciation. Listen, I wish I had 500 tickets to give out and we could give them to a bunch of people. But this is kind of where we landed. And again, just to give a small token of our appreciation to you guys, our listeners, our fans, our viewers. And we just are so grateful that y'all are on this journey. So dive in right now. Swipe up, go to Instagram, jump in this thing, and let's do it. So really quickly, KG, let's actually get a message from our friends over at Ingles, and then we're going to dive into all these 500 episodes and what the heck we've been talking about.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
And just thanks again to Ingles for being a part of this, for encouraging us to do fun stuff like this, for being able to, contribute. We just appreciate them so much, Mac, and they make the show run. They're awesome. So let's just kind of look back. Okay, you mentioned we started this back in October of 2021, which tells you everything that this was not planned well, because why would we start in the middle of football season? Who knows? It was just COVID, man. It was COVID and people didn't know what was going on. I remember I was just driving one day and I just thought, I need to call Mac because I have an idea. And I think this would make a lot of sense. Yeah. And we both were relatively new at ESPN and all that. Yep. And at first, this was an ACC sport. So we did everything. Right. Yeah. And we started to realize, look, football is our bread and butter. It's what people care about all year round, which is what we wanted to do. Right. And then it kind of went from there, Mac. But what do you remember? You remember me just like randomly calling you?
Yeah, right. Well, I do. And I think it was one of those things where, we had gone back and forth so much about, and you were still doing radio too at the time, which that was some heavy days, some long days, KG, where you had to do double time with the podcast or even triple time with ESPN too. Mm-hmm. But I just remember like trying to do something. And like you said, COVID happened and it was kind of like, well, what can we control? Like, what can we do? And let's just do a podcast and let's just start talking. And I will, kind of give us credit because we took our time. And that's probably why it took so long, because we didn't know and we were trying to figure it out. True. And, we set up an LLC and we made sure all the channels were correct and we got art and, graphics and, all these different things where we wanted to be, when the first episode came out, we wanted to look like it was intentional. We wanted to look like there was some thought. And I thought we accomplished that. But looking back and you see it, you're just like, man, We've gone through it, and we've made some awesome changes and some really cool things. And I think of, really just moments that were so pivotal. Outside of just starting and just going, I thought the first time we had a guest was a really big deal. And, just bringing in that new audience and, having other people to talk to was a really big deal there. I think the second thing was when we went on YouTube.
Which that was all Mac.
Nobody needs credit. Nobody needs credit.
I was hesitant, but Mac was like, no, we have to do it. And he was exactly right.
Yeah. And just from a lot of different things. One, I think visually it helps people. I think people are on YouTube, clearly.
Yeah.
It's one of those places, but also fun visuals, and we can show you sponsors and we can show you videos and, different things like that. And who knows, maybe there's a second wave of what that could look like, and who knows with rights, and I would love to show you guys film on here and things like that.
But yeah,
it can get complicated and expensive. But I thought that was a really cool thing. Obviously, getting on SiriusXM is a huge deal, and being on radio and being on Channel 84 and things of that nature. Just the brand association is really, really cool. And then really the last piece. We have touched all around it, but getting a sponsor of the magnitude of Ingles and the buy-in from them, and somebody that supports us and allows us to do really cool things. And, again, this stuff, it takes money to do things, and who knows what this will continue to look like. Bringing on Brett Kim as the job that he's done for us. I think our graphics has taken it to another level for the years that he's been with us. Richmond Weaver, all the hard work and dedication. He's been there since day one. Rich was right there at the very beginning.
We can't thank Rich enough.
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Heck no. The stuff he has to deal with, the late night tech. Hey, Rich, we got to push this back. We're not done yet. All these different things. And he's been absolutely amazing. So those are kind of the moments that I think about, KG, that like, man, that was a big deal when that happened. And it was really cool to see where it went.
Absolutely. You said it so well. And the fact that neither of us had children when we started this podcast.
We've been through 2 births and another on the way, and who knows how many more after that. So it's been fun.
But just the way that, it adds a whole nother dimension, but we still have been able to make this work. Like when we started this, if you had told me you're still doing it in 2025 and you're planning on continuing to do it for as long as who knows, right?
Yeah.
I would have been like, wow, okay. I mean,
okay.
I remember thinking, Mac, like when we put that first episode out, who knows the listenership? I mean, obviously it wasn't big.
Sure.
But it's nerve-wracking. You're taking a leap of faith. Like you're putting something out that you've created and you're like, I hope people like it. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
And it's the internet. So people can, especially when you start putting stuff on YouTube, people can see how many people watch it, whatever. So it's a leap of faith, but it's worth it. And I think that I hope this is an encouragement to people. If you're thinking about doing it, like just do it, because Mac and I don't do this for whatever else. We do it because we get to talk to each other all the time and it's fun, Obviously we wouldn't keep doing this. So, but we do appreciate the fact that it's a lot easier to keep going when you feel like people are watching. So that is very nice.
No question. And to even double down on that, it's been fun, kind of seasonally, just to see who's good and who's watching, because as teams get better, more team, we had 3 teams come into the league this year, and we had, SMU fans that have fully bought in and kind of jumped into this podcast. Great to see all y'all and appreciate that. And Stanford and Cal, it's just, the family keeps getting bigger, right? And we just keep adding all these, but kind of what I was mentioning at the first part, like that FSU season, like, anytime we talk Knowles, it wild. Exploded. And last year, anytime we talk Miami, it exploded. And our Clemson fans have been solid through. But, just different fan bases that, have elevated kind of with us along this journey has been really fun and really cool. And that's been fun for me to see. And, how do we continue to dive into those other markets, and how do, we continue to share light and love on these teams, which has been really fun. And, kind of like you said, I forgot, I should have mentioned this earlier, another pivotal moment when we did decide to go fully football. That was a big deal too, because we were trying to show love to everything, and it's tough, right?
Yeah.
And our bread and butter, kind of like you mentioned, is football. And there was such a spike anytime we did a football episode in February. We're like, that's an interesting data point. We should pay attention. Yeah, we should pay attention to that. And it's been a cool ride with that as well.
It's been awesome. Mac, let's talk about we don't necessarily have to do them in a top 5 list, but when you think of guests, We've had so many guests.
Yeah,
I mean,
we have.
and we've had a lot of people come on multiple times, which we're so appreciative of. By the way, the way that this business works, we have never paid someone to come on the show.
That's true.
They do it out of the goodness of their heart
Yeah.
and because, we have a relationship with them or whatever. So giving up 30 minutes of their time or whatever it is, we always appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of great guests. I'm going to start. I still think my number one, Mac, and this is way back. I'm going to have to link the episode in the description.
Me too.
Because it's so far back. Yeah. When we had Clemson legend, Hunter Renfrow on the
Carolina
podcast.
Panther, by the way.
Yes, finally, a Clemson Panther. And Mac and Hunter were teammates back in the day. And when Hunter first joined the team, he weighed like 150 pounds.
Maybe 130.
Walk on, whatever. And Mac told the story back to Renfrow, which I'm sure Hunter probably already knew, and to our audience, that when Mac first met him, he thought he was a water boy. Like he thought he was a manager. And he ends up being one of the most legendary Clemson Tigers of all time, catching the game-winning touchdown to win the national championship.
Silly me.
Like, and it's not like I'm ragging on you, Mac. It's just so funny to me.
Yeah.
And it's really just, that encapsulates his story, right?
Yeah. No, it really does. And I always think back to that time, anytime this is brought up or Hunter's brought up in any type of context, just because, again, I'm used to Sammy Watkins, Nuke Hopkins, Martavis Bryant, Teron Peak, these dogs, these really good Adam Humphreys, 12-pack Adam Humphreys, these really just good-looking, freaky wide receivers. And then there's just like this kid, underdeveloped, like just does not look like it's a, new water guy. Thank you. Hey, give me that. Come to find out, he's one of the greatest receivers in Clemson history, and had a great career. And it is. I mean, he is so unassuming. When you see, even to this day. I mean, it's not like this dude's killing people in the NFL. He's got people going on other podcasts. The Pivot. James. I'm trying to think of his name.
Ryan Clark.
Derwin James was the guy he was talking to, and he asked for the the hardest receivers to guard, and he goes Hunter Renfrow. He goes, the Empedia salesman and encyclopedia salesman. He said, no, he's not that. You watch film, don't you? Go check it. I mean, that dude is a beast. He's a beast. Yeah, the water boy. That's a good one.
Does that one make your list, Meg?
Well, here's the deal. I'll kind of peel back the curtain.
Okay.
You sent me the outline and your list first, so I didn't want to double scoop.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize I sent you my list. My bad.
You did, which I'm grateful because I didn't want to. I want to have 5 different ones. That it's up there, 100%. If we did a top 10, I would put that up there. And again, I didn't do mine in order, so I'll just kind of go with my top 5. I loved having Gojo on. He was our first ever guest.
So good.
He was our first ever YouTube guest, so we got him twice, double scooped, and that was just it was kind of a cool moment for me. Getting to know him because I grew up watching his dad every day. I mean, I watched that cat and, his dad and Greeny and Mike. I mean, it was so fun to be able to talk to his son who's ascending and doing great things in the media space. And then just to get to know him, he's just a goofy big dude. And, I love that. So he's on my list up top early.
He was very close to being on mine. Michael Jr. He's always going to bring the energy and have like some good takes that you can really get into.
Crazy food takes.
Always.
I mean, all the things.
That's why he's, so successful at what he does.
That's right.
I had to put EJ Manuel is my number 2. Now he's been on with us 4 or 5 times, maybe 5.
The GOAT.
EJ is always great. I truly think EJ is one of the best analysts like in the game, and he deserves more respect. He's really thoughtful. He knows quarterback play, like you can tell. And then I think it solidified for me when he freaking called Cam Ward this NFL draft season when people weren't really saying it.
Nobody was saying it.
This was late February. You can go find it. And EJ, because Brian Callahan was his QB coach in Oakland, head coach of the Titans now, he's like, no, Callahan's going to win his own guy. Like, it's going to be Cam Ward. And I'll tell you why. And just shout out EJ. He always says yes when we need him. Great dude. And I feel like his episodes are always really interesting.
Yeah, I do too. And again, the only reason he wasn't on mine was because he was on
like
yours.
Your boy.
It's my brother. I'm about to see him here in a couple hours. I can't wait. Very excited about that. But everything you just said times 10. I mean, he's just so prepared, and that's what I really love about him. Like we sit in these meetings and he's just got notebook of notes and little thing, like specific quarterback things. And, you know, when we do different episodes, like a couple of years ago, we did a quarterback episode because there were so many great ones. And he sent me a picture of just like line after line
Amazing.
after line of how good these guys are. And the way he presents it, good looking dude that just kills it on TV. And you're right, he deserves way more. And I hope that time is coming. He's been getting some great opportunities. And like you said, every time he comes on this show, it's a hit. And we're very grateful because he does. He always says yes. I try not to lean into it too much. We'd have him on 30 times. But I want to be respectful of his time. I know he's got a lot going on. Speaking of quarterbacks, I loved when we had Cade Klubnik on the second time.
Yes.
Because
yes,
we saw so much growth. And like just this kid to a man. And from a leadership, from a energy, hearing from his guys, hearing from him specifically what he was working on and just who he is. And like we get the crazy thing is we get one more year of that. And is it going to be the final form? Can we see him take another step and just who he is as a man? Because listen, this is hard. And it's hard everywhere to come in and to be a quarterback and be the guy early. It's harder at places like Clemson where there's so much spotlight. There's so much attention to detail. There's so much expectation on the program that you're now the face of. And, you know, there were some valleys and now there's some mountains. And everywhere I look, that dude is the number one pick. And there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of excitement. Have him the number one quarterback. And listen, I'm going to talk about this in July and probably early in the season. And you'll see visually some things that I'm talking about. But we are not far removed from that dude throwing the worst pick six I've ever seen against Charleston Southern to carving up Texas in a college football playoff game in Austin where he grew up and having no pressure, no fear, an absolute monster. And so I'm going to tell the story of how we got there and kind of show it, but he deserves all the credit in the world. I mean, the weight of the universe on his shoulders, and he just dusted it off and went back to work and showed everybody why and how he is. And I think his faith has a huge piece of that. So I love that second conversation with Cade.
It's a great point, Mac. When you think about like even just the Georgia game to when we had him on post Virginia Tech last year.
Yeah.
And we had him on pre-Tennessee bowl game, which was a long time ago.
His first start. It was his first start.
It was so different. The maturity and just, he's awesome. And of course, we'll have him on this year's too. So just stay tuned for some more Cade Klubnik because he's awesome. I have two quarterbacks on here as well. Actually, EJ's a quarterback, so count him. I have three quarterbacks, classic. Riley Leonard.
You do have an offensive lineman too, so I'll give you credit. I'm not going to give away your guess, but you have one on there.
I got you, Mac. Riley Leonard.
Come on.
Duke Riley Leonard. First of all, now we did have Notre Dame Riley Leonard on, and he was awesome. Not trying to take anything away from that. But Duke Riley, we had him on. I remember this, Mac. It was, let's just be honest. Let's peel back the curtain. It was 2023, maybe? Yep. And Duke was off to a good start, but like no one knew who Riley Leonard was yet. No. It actually may have been 2022, Mac. And we thought, okay, well, there aren't really that many big games this week, so let's just get Riley Leonard.
Let's give Duke some love. You know?
It was 22. No one had heard of this guy.
Yeah.
But Duke was off to a good start. We had him on. We're like, he's fantastic. Then we talked about his basketball career. We found that video of him 360 dunking.
That's really why KG's so locked
which
in.
Which they put all over the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Then we had him on again pre-Clemson in 23 when, of course, they beat Clemson. And he was so confident before that game. And we were like, okay. And then, of course, he was right. So he's just such a good dude. Like, one of our absolute favorites to talk to, very humble, always willing to chat with us, give us some time. Even when he talked to us the week of the national championship game, Mac.
I know.
He did not need to do that.
I can't remember if I told you or not. I got a little in trouble.
Did you?
I went kind of the direct route, which is...
I remember.
For whatever reason, this new world, it's a little bit still shame.
You don't do that at Notre Dame. You don't do that at Notre Dame.
You should. We shouldn't do it anywhere. But listen, I didn't know anybody at Notre Dame. I knew Riley. I've known him for 4 years. I know his parents. I know him well. And so I just shot him a text. Said, hey, will you come on? He said, yeah, absolutely. And then I get an email from Notre Dame. Please do not ever do that again. Sorry about it. It was
Max
great, though. It's a great episode.
Trouble. He's in trouble with Notre Dame.
Sorry. So I can't ever go to Notre Dame, but it's all good.
Dang.
Don't want to.
It's not like Notre Dame and Clemson are playing every year or anything like that, Mac.
Come on. Can't wait to. We need to talk about that.
I know.
We will. We've got Graham Neff coming up in a couple weeks. we'll talk about that. There's some cool things happening at Clemson specifically.
Absolutely.
That are going to be really fun. Okay, I'm gonna switch gears for just a second here. We'll get back to football, but I'm gonna change gears here. One of my favorite times was talking with Georgia Amore and Liz Kidley. That was so fun. I love hoops. I love basketball. I love Virginia Tech basketball. I love those two girls and seeing what they did on the court. And it was fun. It was fun to do something different. And they were so passionate about where they were and what they were doing and trying to go on this magical run, and some injuries happened and things of that nature, which stinks. But it was really cool talking with them, and especially leading into that huge game against Iowa. I mean, it was a really big deal, and that was a ton of fun.
I'm so glad you put them on there. I was thinking just football, but yes, absolutely. Because we've done some women's basketball stuff, obviously, because that's my day job. Those two are fantastic. And I saw Liz actually got her first bucket in the W.
Come on.
Georgia tore her ACL, which is so sad, so bummed for her in training camp. But she'll be back. I mean, she's truly she's different. And they were always fantastic and always, again, just willing to talk to us and super humble. Another quarterback for me, Mac, number 4, JT. The man, Jordan Travis. We had him on a few times. This is a guy, too, especially in that undefeated season for Florida State, right? He's one of the big names in college football. Yeah. Like Heisman conversation, everything. He's the quarterback for an undefeated Florida State. And he'd come on with us whenever. Yeah. He was so chill whenever he came on with us. And we had him on a few times before that season. Right. So obviously we knew him.
Yeah.
But just one of my absolute favorite athletes. And the kind of guy that it makes sense that he had success. Obviously his story is crazy. It's not like it just, happened right away for him. But when guys like that succeed, you're happy for him. Right. And I just love Jordan Travis. We'll see what he's up to. Maybe he's getting into coaching, it seems, which I think he'd be great at that. But just one of the best that we've had on.
No question. And I don't know how, if you're Mike Norvell, you don't call him immediately and get him on the staff in some capacity if he wants to. I don't know. And we probably should hit him up just to see what he's doing. But football playing career over. Next journey is going to be great. He'll be very successful. That dude can handle adversity, knows how to go to work, and he's just he was a light, when we talked to him, and I really enjoyed that, and I really love that. I'm going to go with a player here, and this is going to be a curveball for you, but we talk about it all the time. I just think it's hilarious. It's so funny, and that's when we had Thayer Thomas in an Uber on our podcast. Yeah. It was our first mobile episode. We've had a couple since then. Carlos Boozer was in a car. Thayer was in a car, and Xavier Restrepo were in a car.
Oh, yes, he was. Oh my God.
And actually, I think, shout out Louisville fans, I think Coach Satterfield was in a car. Yeah. So he might actually have been first. That was one of the weirder
when things. He wouldn't turn on his video.
He wouldn't turn on his video. And he was driving through the mountains. Like, that was weird. But Thayer Thomas with the headphones on. Driving to the airport was so funny and so random.
At one point, Mac, didn't we start talking to him and he was walking out of his apartment and got in the Uber?
Yes,
you're doing an interview in an Uber.
Yeah, he started normal and then he's like, "Oh shoot, I got to go to the airport.
My Uber's here.
We'll continue the conversation on the road." Perfect. It was great.
Oh my gosh, you just got to roll with the punches. I totally agree, Mac. I forgot about that one, but that's a great one. Really digging into the archives.
Yeah.
I had to get a coach on here. Okay, so my last coach. Now, one may think I may be putting, and I don't know if you have this one, Mario Cristobal on there.
Sure.
When I embarrassed myself and talked about Colombian coffee when I meant Cuban coffee, and it is truly one of the more mortifying moments of my life.
His face, if you could go grab a screenshot and pop it up.
It was so
his
bad.
Face was so
when someone's face is like, oh my gosh, and you haven't yet realized what you said wrong? Yeah. Terrible. But I hope I made up for it because I did try some Cuban coffee when I was at Miami, and it was got me going. But I'm going to go with Brent Key, which is funny because I'm taking your guy, Mac. Brent Key, the head coach at Georgia Tech. He is the best. Yeah. He is, we love talking to Dabo. We love talking with Mac Brown when he was at North Carolina. We'll see if we talk to Bill Belichick. I have no idea. And these guys are legends. But Brent Key, and a legend in his own right, he's just so down to earth. Yeah. He's so cool. He's honest. Like, that's what I really love from coaches. Mm-hmm. Give me some honesty. Give me something I can run with. And specifically the episode with him before the Georgia game. Yeah. you could tell
fired up.
how much it meant to him. It was so cool. And then you see the type of performance Georgia Tech had in Haynes King, in Athens. And of course they didn't win, but it was just a special college football game.
Yeah.
Love Brent Key. Already excited to have him on before this season.
Yeah, no question. He brings it. And listen, I say this all the time, but anytime you have a former player, the head coach of where he played, it's different. And it's really cool. And I love that, A, there's been success. I love, B, that they're recruiting their tails off. And then C, that Georgia Tech has invested back in him and understands what they have with him.
Absolutely.
And who knows? I've seen a lot of people talking dark horse for them in the ACC this year. When you got a quarterback that's been there, done that, if he can stay healthy, look out for the Yellow Jackets. It's going to be a fun year. They're going to be a hard out for a lot of people. My last one here, KG, again, I don't have mine in any type of particular order, but I love talking to Josh Pate, too, this past summer. And I think we're going to try to have him on again. He was so insightful, so fun. And really, it'll be different this year because last summer – it was really about his story and just kind of hearing.
Which is a crazy story.
It's crazy. I mean, this dude, he didn't play anywhere. He saw something happening with the internet and he jumped and he took a huge leap of faith. And, he's one of the biggest voices in college football right now. And it's been really cool just to see him, to get to know him. I would say we've become friends and just texting back and forth about different things. He gets in the gym all the time, all the places he goes. And, I just kind of love to see that. So it's been a really cool deal just to get to know him and have him come on. That was a really fun episode.
He was awesome. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's still our most listened to, watched, whatever episode ever. And he was awesome. He was so good. All right, Mac, before we wrap this thing up, this has been a really fun walk down memory lane. Remember, go into our giveaway. If you've made it this far, make sure you do that. Let's do some rapid fire. Okay. I thought of these.
Let's go.
These are fun because they're 500 themed in some way, at least outside the first question. I'm just curious about the first question. Not that we want other people to listen to, don't turn our podcast off and go listen to another one. I'm a podcast nerd. I love podcasts. What is your favorite podcast outside of ours?
Yeah, outside of ours. I'm glad you said that. I just like to listen to myself over and over.
Sure. I mean, I get it.
But I'm a different guy. Like I don't love just blasting music when I'm driving in the car for a long time. I'd rather listen to a podcast. So I'll jump into Rogan. The guests he has are nuts.
Sure.
He has some crazy stories on there. My boy Lecrae has some stuff that's really fun to listen to. Josh Pate, again, for some college football. But I also like Two Bears, One Cave. Now, I will say this. Do you know who that is?
No. What is
Bert
this?
Kreischer, The Machine, and Tom Segura, two comedians.
Okay.
Just Google
it's a great name.
If everyone else
for a
looking,
podcast.
just check it out. It is funny. Two best friends, and they just got into it. They have gotten a little on the raunchy side, a little more than normal, which kind of tuned out a little bit. So maybe they can get off of that, and I'll come back in. But those are kind of the ones that are typically in my rotation there.
This is good. I like Lecrae's. I've listened to some of Lecrae's. Mac, it's not even a question for me. My favorite podcast is The Rest is History.
Come on.
You are, of course, you're like, oh my God, it's a history podcast because of me. It is too British, which that's great for me. Historians, literally just talking about history.
Yeah.
I think I've listened to every episode. I mean, literally, I've probably listened to 90% of their episodes. I'll
Shout
go back
out to
and
them.
find...
Can we get them on as a summer guest? Are
They're
you friends
huge,
with them?
Mac. They have I think it's the biggest podcast. It's the biggest history podcast in the world. It's probably top 10 in the world.
Wow.
They're massive.
Dang.
They're global.
We should get them on.
I'll work on it.
Yeah,
I'll work on
please
it.
do. Give them a little follow on Instagram.
The only sports they seem to really care about are cricket and a little bit of football, soccer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
We can talk about that. We can talk about it.
Sure how into our show they'd be.
Start asking them football questions. They're like, what? What are you talking
hilarious.
about? What do you mean?
They'd be very confused, but I love that show. Okay. Let's do our 500 theme rapid fires here.
Okay.
What clothing item would you like to own 500 of?
Does that count shoes?
Yeah, I think shoes would be in there.
Any Nike Jordans.
Yeah.
All of them. 500
500?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I could wear a different one for 2 straight years.
I guess
two and a quarter straight.
There's just so many different color combos you could go with.
Anything. Well, there's so many. No. Not just colors. Everything. There's so many different shoes.
Yeah.
So many different shoes.
Okay. Yeah. I hear you.
I'm in. How about you?
So my first thought, mainly because this would be more, I was thinking more work related. If I could wear If I could
500
wear
jackets.
leggings for the rest of my life and just own, like, that'd be fine. Even though sometimes it gets hot.
Yeah.
Blazers.
That would be cool. I'm
Like
in
to
with
have
that too.
500 of those, Mac, where
That's a
I don't know
lot.
where I'd keep all of them, but to have, you'd never have to wear one twice,
No.
basically ever.
Yeah.
I already get embarrassed when I have to wear one twice. Hate it. But, I'm not made of money here.
You do. I will say you have to be strategic with that, especially when you're buying them. Like if you
Yes.
buy a really loud one, you got to be careful. You can't
I agree.
wear
You
You
can't
got to
wear it
have
all the
some
time.
months in between when you wear that.
But if I had 500
maybe
of
years.
them,
But if you have 500, you'd be cool.
I'd be Gucci. I'd be
I
fine.
would like to see what 500 jackets would even look like. Like is there that much variation? Of course there is, but what does it look like? What does that look like?
It's a great point. I don't know.
What is it? What's
We
the
can dream.
biggest, like, what is your color? Like your closet, you just lean to, like you're buying this all the time. Then you look, you're like, I have way too many of this.
I think I buy too much green. I think I end
Really?
up with some form
What
of
a
green.
weird random thing.
I know. I always end up like, why is that? Like, I buy something, I'm like, oh, I already have, like, it's green again, green or like a green blue.
Yeah.
That's what I end up with. I'm wearing
That's
blue
funny.
right now.
I'm
Something
a blue,
in that realm.
I'm a navy blue purple. Like
Yeah.
that window
can't
is
go
just
wrong.
like, it's just so beautiful. I just
Yeah.
love it. And then I get home, I'm like, I have 12 of these. This is great. Can't wear
It's
it.
a real problem.
Can't wear it.
It's a real
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Mac and I both
I don't
have
do
that
red.
problem.
I don't do red. So I need to add
I don't
that
love
in.
red either. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Louisville fans. Okay, this is an interesting one. Which song could you listen to 500 times and not get tired of it?
I put some real thought into this, and I think there's a lot of bangers out there that is pretty applicable to this. But I went with Amazing Grace by Josh Turner. It's one of my favorite songs. And if you haven't heard it, I'll send it to you, KG. His voice is the best. And just that song. I mean, I sing that to Amelia once a day. I mean, it's the best.
That is so the right answer. And I didn't even think that way.
Where'd you go?
Like,
I wanna hear
obviously,
Where'd
it
you go?
should
Some
be
George Strait?
like it should be like Million Little Miracles or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like obviously that would be good for your soul. I said Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift.
That is not true. You would be so burned out so
Mac,
fast.
Cruel Summer is a
20 times you're
freaking
done.
masterpiece.
After 20, you're done.
it is
There's
a
no-
masterpiece.
Cool.
It's a masterpiece. Okay.
I can
I
think
put-
of any other song.
I put it on the
I'm happy.
Taylor playlist I made you.
Yeah. yeah.
You have it. Okay. I'm curious which way you go here because is it a game you played in or not? Which
Yeah.
college football game could you watch 500 times? Like watch it over and over and over and over
Yeah.
and not get tired of watching it.
Yeah. Funny enough, I had two answers on here that were both games I didn't play in. And I settled on
Interesting.
one, but I'll tell you the first was Louisville when Clemson played at home against Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, great game.
That was very early in that was the first year out of me playing, but it was kind of in the middle of the season. That was the first game of that year. And really, there's only a couple since that I've been like, I wish I was playing. Like it was so electric. There was so much energy. Death Valley was on another stratosphere. And just the magnitude of the game, two like unbelievable quarterbacks, ACC trying to do all they can to
Number
stand
3 versus
tall.
number 5, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. And the way it finished was unbelievable. So that was on there. And then the second one, which is the first one, that championship game with Hunter Renfrow scoring the game winner. Again, it was the first year since I had been playing that I was out. It was the first time Clemson won the Natty in 30 years, 40 years, whatever it was. And it was just unbelievable. I think it was 30 something. Unbelievable. And such a fun game. And just the highs and lows and the craziness of it. There was a lot in there. It was really fun.
It was a great game. That's what people kind of forget, the back and forth.
Yeah.
And you look at all the guys on both rosters that are now in the
Right.
league. It's just
Right.
crazy. And it's
And
Saban
even-
versus Dabo.
Yeah, you talk about that back and forth. Because Saban had just beaten us and just beaten Dabo the year before. And so it's kind of like, oh, he's got him. You know, he's the master still.
But that game was
Nobody can
close
beat him.
too. I mean,
It was.
Yeah.
A 5-point game. And, for that one, the very next year. But the drive before, Deshaun had that amazing, walk down the field game winner. Jalen Hurts put on a clinic.
Yes.
And he scored like a 30-yard rushing touchdown with less than 2 minutes left. And you're just like, oh, well, it's over. They did
Absolutely.
it again. And not so fast.
We all thought that. And think about where Jalen Hurts is now.
I know.
He's a Super Bowl champion.
Freaking
So
champ. Yeah.
it's crazy. I put that game too. I don't think
Look
I
at
don't know
us.
how
Come
it couldn't be
on.
that game. Clemson versus Alabama 2016 Natty.
Yeah.
I thought about the 2018 Natty, but honestly, Mac, I think I'd
It's a
get
blowout.
bored.
So bored.
I'd get
So
bored.
boring. Yeah, it was a terrible
I mean,
game.
I would watch it over and over again, but it's like
Yeah.
it just wasn't close
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
got to be that one. You and I both were in attendance for that game.
That's right.
I think it's interesting that you didn't put a game that you played in, but I also get it because if I'm rewatching a game I played in, all I can see
It's just you.
is what I and also like what I did wrong,
Yeah,
right?
wrong. How to correct it.
Even if you have 20 points, it's like, shoot, I missed that, whatever. And so for you, like we're too much of perfectionists to truly sit there and enjoy it and watch it 500 times.
That was the story of my career was everybody else can talk about the good things. All I'm worried about is what was wrong. And
Absolutely.
how can I fix it? How can I make it better? Which
That
is
makes sense.
tough. And if you play for a long time, it's even tougher, I imagine.
Or if you're just really, really good, you know. But you were Mac. But I'm saying if you're Tom Brady, you might be able to rewatch some of those.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, last one, and then we got to get out of here. This has been a fun walk down memory lane. I'm so curious what Eric McLean says to this question. This last question, of course, is sponsored by our great friends over at Ingles.
Come on.
Which food could you eat 500 days in a row?
Yeah.
That's a year and a half, basically, and not get tired of it.
I need specification. Is this an item or is this a group? Is this a... Where were you thinking when you wrote it down?
I mean, you could say my answer is probably a little bit of a group, but it's pretty much an item.
Oh, it is. I want you to go first then, and I might adjust.
It could just be what I've been craving this entire pregnancy, so that's what I'm saying.
You're a little manipulated right now.
By the way, I'm pregnant. If anyone missed that.
Breaking news. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Pizza.
Okay. That is specific.
And here's the thing with pizza, though, because I'm kind of cheating. There are so many variations you could do with pizza, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you have to have pepperoni pizza every night. You could switch it up. But I've been in, my husband has Italian heritage, and this child inside of me isn't Italian because all I want to eat is pizza. So there you go.
Khaki Mac makes a sourdough pizza. I could do that every day for 100 days, million days, 500 days.
500 though?
I went with Mexican, though. I said Mexican food.
Yeah, and that's a good one because you can do variations.
Yeah, see, and I didn't know if that's where you're going or not.
Yeah,
if it was one thing, I would go with pizza too, because like you said, it's variety.
The one like food item, which is
give me
cheating,
one food item.
But it would be coffee. Like, you know me, Mac. I mean, I'm out here.
Doesn't count. Sorry.
I know Mac doesn't do it. Mac is so pure. He doesn't touch these things.
It's super pure.
And I'm out here like, I need
Jacob. What could Jacob do for 500?
Mac and cheese.
Really? Okay, that's pretty good.
He asks for mac and cheese for breakfast some days.
Do you give it to him?
No.
Maybe you should. Who knows? Maybe you should. Amelia's is blueberries.
Oh, yeah,
She can smash some blueberries.
I feel that.
It's pretty expensive.
And I like that Amelia's is way healthier than Jacob's.
Yeah, well, she's a girl. It's typical.
She's smart.
Thank God we're so rich and we can all afford berries. Because if not, I don't know what Amelia would eat. We'd be in a tough spot.
Thanks that Ingles has affordable berries prices.
That's right.
We appreciate that.
Oh, gosh. KG, this was so fun. I'm so happy you came up with this idea. We didn't know what to do for 500.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. I think this was the best thing, though. And I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed listening. Maybe you learned a little bit more about us, that our kids like mac and cheese and blueberries. Who knows? Maybe you didn't know that. But we really appreciate you guys. I cannot stress that enough for going on this journey with us, for tuning in when we were just two kids figuring it out to now we're still kind of grown-up kids doing this thing.
We're old.
And hopefully it continues to get better. But it's been a real pleasure. It's been a treat. And I love every second, KG.
And enter our giveaway.
Please.
That's kind of the main purpose of this episode.
We want to give away a lot of money.
500th episode giveaway. We want it to be huge. Yeah. We want some lucky, listener of ours to really have an awesome experience. And we thank Ingles so much for their support with this giveaway.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Go subscribe. Jump on the channel if you haven't already. YouTube, SiriusXM, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, like KG just said, jump into this contest. It's really easy to do. Just go over to Instagram, figure it out. Maybe you'll see it on Facebook too. Anyway, it'll get you back to where you need to be. Appreciate you guys always. Until next time, we'll see y'all.